Assalamu alaikum, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Not sure where in the world you are, but hello and welcome to The Other Side with Fariha and Talat. We do have guests with us today, right, Fariha?
Yes.
Yes. So who do we have with us today?
We've got Tahir. Tahir is President Asia Pacific, Middle East and Africa at Reckitt Benckiser.
One who's had a career in a multinational, been through the different geographies and the different jobs and is very successful.
And Tahir has over 25 years of work experience. Tahir has worked in Belgium, Switzerland, Turkey, Brazil, and of course Pakistan. So I think what is very interesting about Tahir's career journey, he graduated from IBA from Pakistan and then had a very successful stint with Procter & Gamble doing local and global roles. Then he moved to Reckitt where he did, he's doing incredibly well. So Tahir, my question to you, when you reflect in your career, what are some of the qualities or traits that you have embraced, have enabled you to manage your career successfully, both in Pakistan as well as internationally?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for a very generous introduction. Well, I'd say a few things. I think if I look at my career, 25, 26 years between P&G and RB, from Pakistan to Turkey to Europe to Latin America, I think a few things have worked for me and also worked for my teams. The first, I would say, topmost is the courage to dream, the courage to dream and disrupt, to dream big, the courage to dream not with your head but with your heart, and sometimes dream obscenely big, and keep the mind outside, because the mind, dimag aa jata hai ki this cannot be done. So I think to me it's very important. I also daydream. That's where I dream about how do I want to take this region to the next level, what's going to be the next move, let's say for each of our markets. So to me, I think the number one factor is the ability to dream. And hence I think that to me is my second very important factor, which is having a very simple, clear-headed mind. I see records where I have to pop a pill because you don't know how the record is building up. I've seen thinking which is very complicated. I've seen thinking which is very simple. And hence I think one thing which works for us, because we are in consumer goods, we work with very simple consumers, is the ability to think very simple. And the ability to sort between data and gut. But I think above all, the ability to make decisions. That's what we paid for. We're paid for making decisions. We paid for making judgment calls. And the ability to make quick decisions, because one can always procrastinate. Having a love affair with whatever you do. I think the single biggest difference between a human being and a machine, and machines are faster, is the heart. Machines don't have a heart. I think putting in your heart and soul, bringing your full self to work, and giving it the extra mile. I think, and I link it back to when I talk to some of, let's say, the younger people, I tell them it's like a love affair. When you fell in love in college, you wanted to, give everything into it. And I think that's what, if you have fallen in love with what you do, I think your heart allows you to go the extra mile. A thumping heart allows you to take risks, allows you to have a can-do attitude, allows you to be resilient. I think in life, things don't work. And I mean, every day, things don't work. And allows you to get back and start punching back. I think my fourth one and the last one is having fun on the journey. We have a mantra in RB. I have a mantra in my business unit: work hard and play hard.
Anybody who study your career or anyone who's been successful, they see on paper, it seems like a very sort of a linear progression, and a lot of people aspire. But I'm assuming the journey wouldn't have been so easy, right? There must have been some setbacks, some professional failures, or some, you mentioned decision making, some decision that today when you reflect on, you say maybe I could have done differently. So I guess the question is, if you can share, and how did you overcome those failures? Because that's quite important, right?
I mentioned a little while earlier about ability to take risks. And I think if you don't fail, clearly you're not taking risks. So by design, if you take risks, you're bound to fail. And I think in my company or even in P&G, I think failure is considered a learning experience. And I'll take you through maybe a couple of experiences where I would say was very challenging. So when I got promoted from Turkey as a head of Latin America, it was a huge jump. And the company sent me to a totally different part of the world. They didn't speak English, so it was a different part of the world where the language was a big barrier. I have 7 or 8 of my colleagues who one fine day became my subordinates. So it was a big cultural journey. And the moment I landed, Brazil, currency devalued big time after 8, 10, 9 years of stability. Venezuela was a big market. It disappeared, let's say, from the economic land zone. Argentina went through hyperinflation. So all of this started piling up. This coupled by the fact that I was so far away from home. And I think the first impressions of Brazil are not, coming from Turkey, big cars, flashy airport, you land into an airport, go through, miles and miles of favelas, you say, what have I gotten myself into? But I think that's where the fun part is. I think it's you're surmounted with challenges. And then you think through, as I say, start conquering one room at a time. We started fixing Brazil, our biggest market, went on to fixing Mexico, went on to fix Argentina. And I think in about 6-9 months' time, when we look back, I think the whole region started turning around. I picked up a bit of their language.
You need to behave differently to be successful in Pakistan, and those traits are not easily transferable when you're working abroad.
No, I think to me, the first thing I've learned in life is you have to be your authentic self. I think whatever you are, you cannot change it. And I think always you have to keep nurturing your strengths. And hence, I think if I now look at the Pakistani talent pool, I think it's one of the best in the world. I think a very committed nation. When children are growing up, I think the sermons you get from your parents, ke padhoge nahi to ye nahi hoga. So it's also in their DNA, going the extra mile. They take their jobs as if it's very, very serious, very upright, straightforward, easy to work with, and super committed and sharp. I think the old British schooling system and the Ragra, I think also makes us very, very thorough. But I think one thing which I think we've got to improve as a nation is we are sometimes not able to push ourselves out of our comfort zones. When I moved to Dubai, all of Pakistan wants to come here. Everybody wants to come to UK. Everybody wants to come to America. In LATAM, we had one of the coolest jobs, but we halal gosht shayad na mile, language nahi aayegi, and so on and so forth. I think to me, if you really want to progress, you've got to have the ability to get yourself out of your comfort zone. Just like in a gym, I think unless you stretch, you don't push your muscles to the next level. But I think one thing we can do better is, get us out of our comfort zone. Life is way beyond Dubai. After 26 years, I finally come to Dubai. When I was in PNG, everybody went to Dubai, moved to Saudi, came back, and done. I think there's a whole life out there. And it's more fun when you go to these faraway places because you learn a different culture, you learn a different language, you learn new skill sets. So I think push yourself out of your comfort zone, have faith in you, have faith in Allah, and I think things work out. Absolutely, things work out.
Thank you, Tahir. It was very useful, and I think I agree. And I think while you were talking, I could see the passion that you mentioned is very important. I think you mentioned a little bit about Ragra or being able to think beyond your boundaries. And I know this is particularly important because often we like to say we all want to take a comfortable route, but frankly, there is no comfortable route to success. You've got to be a bit on the edge, a bit stretched, and then you really see your true potential.
We have a mantra in I have a mantra in my business unit: work hard and play hard. We travel a lot. We were before COVID 2 weeks on a plane from Japan to Middle East, to Asia, to Africa. And I think that's where we, and at least some of my colleagues, spend their lives. So it's having fun, I think, is very, very important.
What I particularly liked was the bit around the heart. And it's so true. The only difference between us and machines is that we have a heart. And so, work with your heart, work with that passion that only comes from that, from your heart. And then I love the bit about working outside of your comfort zone. It's so true, and the older you get, the more risk averse you are. So, an absolute pleasure, pleasurable interview, and very good to hear some of your thoughts.